Welcome back to another episode of Owning the Weight podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Tedesco. Joining me today is Abby and Mary. And on this podcast, we talk all things wellness, business, and nutrition. And today, we're going to be interviewing Mary on healthy baking swaps. If you guys caught us last episode with Mary, we were talking about what goes on behind the scenes making a Fit Flavors menu. And Mary does a lot of the baking creation here at Fit Flavors, and we thought, how cool would it be to talk about these healthy baking swaps? Because nowadays, this is definitely more common, and people are trying to do it, including my mom. She's always bringing me all these sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, swapping things, snacks.
Well, it's getting to the season.
Just kind of talking about how we do it and what to look out for. So thanks for joining us again today. Why don't we start off real quick and just tell us how you got into baking snacks for Fit Flavors and why you like doing it.
How did I get into baking snacks?
I told you to do it. No, I'm joking. No, she delegated it. Jinx. No.
I don't know if you did.
No, you liked it. You liked it.
I've always enjoyed baking.
And I've just had this little insecurity around it. And she just was drawn to it. It was great. It was remember?
Well, so our bakery used to be at our Chesterfield location where the kitchen is currently. Now it's at our St. Peter's store.
Uh-huh.
And whenever we would test like meals, our baker would be in the back corner, like by himself, or Heather by herself.
Yeah,
baking stuff. I guess I just joined in.
Well,
I don't know.
You were always making stuff at home, and I always think somebody who wants to do anything in life does it outside of work.
Yeah,
like
100%.
You fully embody what your thing is, and that's why you succeed at whatever, is because you're just putting in more time. So she was already doing it, and she was like learning for herself. So she's so fully invested in it, and like a lot of times I go to her when I have questions about ingredients or like, hey, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Because like she reads up a lot on this stuff, and it just kind of naturally happened. And then one year we set yourself a goal to like actually make some new snacks.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
I do.
That was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. And she just hit the ground running with it, and she really enjoyed it. So
What was like the first snack you ever made for Fit Flavors?
ooh.
Like that you like.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if it was the blueberry crumble.
Oh.
Was it?
I don't know.
No?
I feel like you had something before that. You should bring that back. That was good. With
Yeah.
that thick base. Thick base.
Dude, so Mary is Raymond's favorite person at Fit Flavors because she makes the snacks.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Either
He's
the
like, hey.
favorite or the least, depending on the menu.
He's always like, tell Mary to bring back the strawberry cheesecake bars or the blueberry
Tell
cheesecake
Mary.
bars. Yeah.
Tell
I'm like, I'll
Mary.
put in a request. I'm not going to tell her.
It's kind of biased. Like if you're in the office when we're working, you do have a little bit of a say, because like you're dropping stuff in our ears. We're like, it's not a bad idea. And we like consider it,
And she's so open to it.
Oh yeah.
So open to it.
I love collaboration with the menu. Totally.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
feel like either of
it's not
us
like
are a
ours.
control freak
No,
at all
not at
about
all.
it.
There's been times where I'm like, oh my God, Mary, this would sound so good if you can like make it Fit Flavors-y. That sounds so good.
Mhm.
And there's
did
times
that
where Mary's
recently.
like, there's times where Mary's like, yeah, there's no way we can do that. But there was a what was it?
I think it's on the menu now. You joined our menu development meeting one day. We had a day in the life
It was
of
the
Mary.
Fit Mac Bowl.
Oh.
It was the
My
Fit
famous
Mac
moment.
Bowl.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that.
That was Abby. Yeah. She just kind of dropped herself into that meeting that
Well,
day.
I was doing
Came in
a
with-
day in the life with Mary.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't just insert myself.
Well, then, wow, you really added value that day.
I know. What can I say?
That's awesome.
Anyways, we're talking about baking. So, Mary and or Jillian, can you guys tell us why making healthier baking swaps is important for overall nutrition?
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of the like packaged desserts and like treats and stuff have just nonsense in them, like corn syrups and
Inflammatory oils.
Yeah, bleached flour, all that kind of stuff that you shouldn't be eating, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we like love to make all the swaps with like gluten-free oat flour, or we have gluten-free baking flour. We use like a ton of like maple syrup, honey, avocado oil, coconut oil. to substitute those kind of items. And while they sometimes don't taste like the exact replica
Yeah.
of
Right.
a packaged good, they're pretty darn close.
And you
which
can
is
eat them more
great.
regularly, you know,
Yeah.
and they're not going to have the same impact on your blood sugar.
Right.
Yeah, and we try to keep our snacks, or we do, I shouldn't say we try. We keep our snacks under 10 grams of added sugar
Mhm.
or less, which is still pretty high. But typically all of them are, between like 3 to 6-ish.
She also forgot
Yeah.
to mention too, one of the main things is like we also fortify all of our
the
snacks
protein.
with protein.
Yeah.
And that's just a way to kind of balance out the macros. Like just throwing in just a little bit of protein slows down the digestion of that and the impact on your blood sugar.
Mhm.
You know, and if she's using an oat flour or a flaxseed or a coconut oil, it's that fat is also, or the fat and the fiber is going to slow down the impact on the blood sugar. So our whole goal with all the food that we create for the products at Fit Flavors is how can we have the minimal impact on blood sugar? And so when we're putting stuff together, fiber is our friend. And so we take a lot of consideration with fiber when we're making meals and snacks.
So that will kind of lead into my next question. So are there any specific swaps that you guys recommend to anyone that is looking to reduce their sugar, like without losing sweetness?
Yeah, so a lot of times fruit is great.
I was literally going to say that.
Like,
I'm so glad you said that because I'm like,
Well,
she's going to say some baking thing. I was
no,
going to say,
like-
just start eating fruit.
Well,
Right.
not even that. Honestly, so the blueberry crumble bars, we do put like maple syrup in it. But honestly, it doesn't need it. Like we put it in there for that extra, flavor profile. But that'd be a great option if you want to completely have like a no sugar,
I would say
bar.
too, if you're like got a sugar problem and you're trying to like go sugar free, like set realistic expectations for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. If you think this stuff doesn't taste good, it's probably because you're addicted to sugar. A lot of people are.
100%.
Like you gotta, the stuff that you're eating that is full of that high fructose corn syrup, like she's talking about,
Yeah.
and just sugar,
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
like made to make you eat more.
That's not
Yeah.
the foods that you want to be eating. If like I always think like if I'm going to eat a chocolate chip cookie, like why not just make one grandma makes or somebody makes because it's just like made with
Real
Food.
ingredients.
rather than when
Yeah.
you go to the grocer and you ever think of those sugar cookies, people really like them, but they have like that icing and the sprinkles on them and
Oh,
they're
the
round.
pink icing.
You ever
Yeah.
flip them over and look at the list of ingredients on there?
Yeah.
It's repulsive.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just not going to eat that. Like, give me grandma's cookie that just says sugar
Yeah.
and flour and butter.
Yeah.
Like, it's just less ingredients. And I'm going to opt for something like that. It's just a cleaner, higher quality product, even though it's still sugar. That's another thing that we'll talk about. Her and I is like, hey, we'd rather you have the real thing in a quality setting than cheap
Right.
products, you
Yeah.
know? So we just currently launched like Fit Flavors treats.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to launch.
Mhm.
Surprise!
Yeah.
So we eat this stuff and we're like,
Yeah.
why don't we offer something?
We're indulging in the 20%.
Yeah, just that people are going to eat it. Why don't we just provide something that's a little fun for them? This isn't something we recommend eating every day, like our snacks. You can eat our snacks every day, but like these things are like your treats, you know. And so it's a healthier option than buying processed stuff from the
Right.
grocery store.
And I will say from my experience, at least, I've cut out a lot of processed things just by working at Fit Flavors because we get a lot of food from Fit Flavors now. But whenever I've been in situations at like birthday parties and there's cupcakes and I go to take a bite, you can just taste like the artificialness of it. And it's crazy.
It's like overly sweet.
It's insane.
It's-
And it's almost like you can taste like the sugar alcohol. Like
Yeah.
it's,
I
don't
can
know.
feel like my heart racing
Yeah.
sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
It's
we
nuts.
bought, side note, we ordered pizza the other night and Jay ordered soda. He goes, I thought I ordered the 20 ounce, but he ordered the 2 liter. He goes, they do that on purpose. He goes, I just clicked on the soda thinking it was 20, but the lady shows up with one of Diet Coke for Jason and the Fandango for the boys, like orange soda.
Oh, Fanta?
So, Fandango, sorry.
That's a movie app, but that's okay. That's all right. Well, let's slide.
Yeah. So,
7, 14.
I can't help myself, but I'm like, let me just peek at how much sugar is in this thing. Like, how much sugar do you think is in one serving? So 8 ounce.
Oh, the orange soda?
One serving.
Serving.
I was
Yeah,
going to say
Fan,
30, 40.
how do you spell it? Fanga?
Fanta.
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 Okay. Yeah, it was. I was appalled. You're right. 29 grams of sugar.
Dang.
So 8 ounces. Do you guys know how much 8 ounces is? It's
a cup.
nothing.
Tiny.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
So Vincent I literally have left over from our Christmas holiday party, those 8 ounce coffee cups and I've just been using them to go when I drink my little espressos in the morning. And so he grabbed one and he filled up an 8 ounce cup. He drank it. He filled another one up. He drank it. So he had 2. All he had was 2 little 8 ounce cups.
Dang.
60 grams of sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
And he went to go get a third. I'm like, buddy, that's it. You're done. I go, I just want you to know you had 60 grams of sugar. Like a kid's recommended amount for the day is like 25 to 30 grams for a kid. That's like what the USDA recommends or whatever. And it's like, you think of when you go buy a 20 ounce, that actually would have, that would be
A little over
30, 60, 75 grams of sugar in a 20 ounce. If he would drink the bottle. Now think about if you go to the gas station and you buy a 44 ounce.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I'm
crazy.
telling you, like this is why we have diabetes.
Yeah. The
So-
hidden epidemic.
So it's just it's all around us. And I'm not saying I don't let my kids drink soda, but so when we were cleaning up, Jason goes, I'm pouring these in the sink. I go, I love that. He
Mhm.
goes, yeah, we enjoyed it and we're done.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, Vinny goes, where's my orange soda? He goes, buddy, we had it. He goes, I meant to order the 20 ounce. They just sent us this big one. We don't need all this. We don't drink soda on the regular.
Right.
And we just played it off so cool. And it was just like, we had some fun and we're going to pour it out now.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow.
That's a great way to handle it.
Yeah.
Just don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
either.
And we try not to. I'm just been thinking about Halloween coming up and I'm like, you got to just let him indulge. But I want to talk to him. I'm like, buddy, don't, Vinny kind of takes it overboard more than Sal does. Like Vinny will eat 20 pieces of candy. Sal will eat 5, So, and I don't want to like throw it all away afterwards. But at the same sense, it's like after a week, you got to kind of get rid of that.
Yeah. My husband and I, we like sneak handfuls and just throw it in the trash can.
Their stash just slowly starts to go bye-bye.
But so whenever you guys are baking and when it comes to fats and oils, what are some better, more healthier alternatives that can still give your baked goods like the right texture? Because I know sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Coconut oil is one. Ghee,
I was just
avocado
gonna say the
oil.
butter, man. We started using butter.
We started using butter. Yeah,
and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, butter isn't bad.
Yeah,
everything in moderation.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are like the top, I guess, 4.
Oh, you
top 4 fats. Yeah.
You said avocado and
Coconut
olive oil.
Coconut oil. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also use like almond flour too. We use that a lot in our
we also
baking.
used to use more flax. I feel like we haven't been using as much flaxseed as much lately.
No, not in our baking.
What's the benefit of using flax? That it's a fat, right?
Yeah, it's just
kind of
it's like a meal.
Rounded,
Yeah,
honestly.
it can be
Fats
like
and fiber and protein.
but it's got like omega in it and
Okay.
fiber. Like she said, it's actually very well balanced.
I've made like flax eggs before, but I've never really paid attention to the nutritional content.
So that would be if someone maybe had like an egg sensitivity, or you were trying to make something egg free.
Right.
It actually works out pretty good. We've used them in meatballs. I liked it a lot.
In meatballs?
I have, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
The more you know.
The more you know. So for people that are gluten-free or dairy sensitive or dairy-free, what are your go-to swaps for those?
Yeah, definitely gluten-free flour would be like, I guess, number 1. That's kind of obvious. But we use a lot of oat flour and almond flour. And then for dairy, typically it's like the coconut oil that replaces the butter. And obviously there is like dairy-free yogurt on the market nowadays. We haven't dove into that realm yet. Just honestly, I think it's just sourcing.
You'll use
issue.
applesauce too.
Applesauce, yeah. Depending on what I'm making, honestly, because it definitely changes like the texture and the flavor of things. Yeah, so it definitely just depends on the recipe.
And then what would applesauce be a substitute for?
Typically some kind of moisture, whether that is maybe something calls for yogurt
or oil.
oil.
Okay.
But if you're substituting applesauce for the oil, the texture is going to be more like cakey instead of like
Flaky.
a dense brownie or something.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite brand of gluten-free flour?
Oof.
Because I know there's so many.
Yeah. At home I like King Arthur's
Mhm.
brand. We use Bob's Red Mill gluten-free 1-to-1, and we also have their Bob's all-purpose as well. We use that in the kitchen typically. But those two are great.
Mhm.
They have xanthan gum in them, so it helps bind the whatever you're making.
That's kind of
dessert.
like, isn't that kind of like
It's
the
like-
key ingredient that you have to add?
Yeah. So yeah, because like gluten, when you're making a dessert or a baked good, that's what is like binding it all together, like the proteins.
Mhm.
And without that,
It kind of
without the
falls
xanthan
flat,
gum, it's
right?
like crumbly.
crumbly.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
And then also, it's like kind of like a science.
So
I mean,
if you're looking for a gluten-free flour, you can read the ingredient labels and see if they
Yeah.
put a blend of xanthan gum in there.
Yeah,
If
typic-
not, you're going to need to add some. Do you know the ratio
Yeah.
you would need to add for like a cup of flour? So like
honestly,
a couple of teaspoons? Let me look
honestly,
it up.
I don't, but I would say like an eighth of a teaspoon
Okay.
per cup of flour. That would be
Mhm.
my guess. Yeah.
And then I know Jillian, at least in your home life, you use like the dairy-free, I forget what brand it is, the dairy-free chocolate chips.
Oh, we use those too.
The same
Enjoy-
ones at Fit
Mhm.
Flavors?
Enjoy life.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great. I can't even
Yeah.
tell a difference.
There's been so many like good things happening with like dairy and gluten free.
Oh my gosh.
lately.
It's
So,
crazy.
It's awesome. It's like a good. It's like
It's
good.
like the world is finally catching on.
yeah.
Right.
We're
obviously-
there.
Right.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
Obviously, those things aren't like gluten and dairy aren't bad for you, but just the
Some
way-
people just
the
have
way
more
it's treated-
sensitivities.
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
the way it's like treated in the U.S. is
Correct.
different.
Like,
than
and
other
she's talking about
countries.
farming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Farming.
Mm-hmm.
I did look
It's a
up the
whole nother
ratio of xanthan gum to gluten-free
Like
flour.
those?
It's usually around 1/4 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum per cup of flour.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it's not much, but it's a difference.
It's enough, yeah,
Oh, without
to notice
it,
a
it's-
difference.
Yeah.
Dang.
Mhm.
So you were saying earlier that we incorporate protein into our snacks at Fit Flavors. How do we do that without, because I've dabbled in making things with protein powder, and it's definitely messed with like the consistency and the texture like of whatever I'm making. So how do we do that without it affecting the texture?
Well, it does, but then we have to
Yeah.
reverse engineer that shit.
It's like
Okay.
like testing 10 to 15 times.
Well, thank God there's Fit Flavors because I'm not
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, literally. It's kind of.
I mean, when you find something that works, like, yay, write it down. Write it down.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've altered my pancake recipe at home, like my protein pancake, just a little, and like it doesn't come out the same. I have to do it the exact same way. Like,
Mm.
so, and one time I tried doubling it, and I don't know what I did. I was like, why is this so watery? So I'm like, I just need to stick with the one time
Yeah.
batch or something. I don't know what I did.
That's another thing. Like we make a lot of food.
Yeah.
Like we make like large batches of this stuff, and yeah, just sometimes we have to cut stuff in half because it doesn't turn out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if like
That's going back to that mass production. Like,
like if you overmix something, it's not going to turn out great.
if you can
kind of thing.
imagine your batter for a cookie in a bowl. Now
Mhm.
imagine it in a massive, massive Cambro that's 2 feet deep,
yeah,
and you're whisking it, and it's heavy, and it's sitting on itself, and it just, and then before it gets into the muffin cups, it sits there longer, and like it starts to change. And so like we run into those factors of like when we're producing, like how do we yield consistent products
Mm.
when stuff is different in mass production. So
Mhm.
that's why she does so much testing of the
Yeah.
product.
yeah,
Dang.
regular baking like with butter and sugar and flour is much more forgiving.
Yeah. And she says forgiving, and baking is not forgiving. It is
No.
like,
Yeah.
it is so precise. But yeah, like once you start altering with,
Protein powder. That's like my dab in my side every time. I'm like, let's not make this muffin taste earthy from the protein powder.
yeah.
So you got to make it taste good.
Yeah. Yeah, you do want to make it taste good so people
Yeah.
still enjoy it. I mean, I still think my favorite snack ever is those Bliss bars. Those are just.
That's
They're
your
such a-
recipe.
Huh?
That's your recipe.
Is it?
Yeah. It's
Don't
no
look at
bake.
me.
You didn't bake it. It's no bake.
It is just. No, I think Justin came up with
No,
that.
that's yours.
How do I not
promise.
remember that?
I promise
It-
you. You made it at your house.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's always
Mhm.
funny. I always like, if I
Yeah.
ever want to know how like detail oriented someone is, I always ask if they like to cook or bake. Usually the people that like to bake are a little more
Shut-
detail oriented
shut
because
up,
with
Abby.
cooking, you can cook with your heart. You can put whatever you want in there for
Yeah.
the most part
There you go.
to make it taste good.
Low
But
D.
baking, you cannot bake with your heart. You got to follow the recipe.
That
so,
is true.
yeah.
That is true.
That's true. That's funny.
So what would you guys say are your favorite recipes when it comes to snacks or baked goods that you've tested and found to work well?
Mm.
Obviously the PB Bliss bar. It's literally
Mhm.
one of the staple items on the menu. Never leaves. It's
I mean,
so good.
I don't do a lot of baking at home. When I do, I make a raw bar. So I do like oats, protein powder, and then like if I do a nut or a chocolate chip or a craisin, that's kind of like the raw. And then my wet is honey, peanut butter, like
Coconut oil.
coconut oil is so important because when coconut oil gets cold, it re-solidifies. Like
Mhm.
would you say?
Solidified.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
Mhm.
coagulates. I would say
No.
solidifies.
Mhm.
And it really, because like a lot of times with natural peanut butter, it's soft even when you make it cold. It's not the same as coconut oil. So the coconut oil is really what gives that bar the texture to cut it and hold it together like a bar. Like you could throw those wet in a bowl, dry in a bowl, mix them, put them in a 13 by 9, and then throw it in your fridge. And it's done. That's easy. That's why I like it. And I can kind of fudge the recipe a little bit, and it still kind of
can.
comes out.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of times I'll make 2 and 3 times because Jason just hammers that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like my go-to
Yeah.
is simple and easy like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. I'll go back to the crumbles. I love the like blueberry apple crumbles. And there's it's honestly like kind of same. You mix your dry and your wet, throw it together, and then
So your crumble is like
Okay.
oatmeal, gluten-free flour,
Yeah.
cinnamon.
mhm.
Is that about it?
Typically, yeah, I'll use brown sugar.
hmm
Whether I use butter or oil.
Do you ever use monk fruit or do you
Yeah.
always monk fruit brown
Yeah.
sugar?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
that's your sugar alcohol there.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's not sugar.
it's not
alcohol.
sugar alcohol. It's
sugar replacement.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. A monk I love
Sorry.
monk fruit.
Yeah.
It's,
The details.
it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we hope you guys got some helpful baking swaps for you for if you're making cookies this holiday season or if you're just making a quick treat for yourself. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot us a DM on our Instagram. It's fit_flavors_STL.
And just say, hey, ask Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get Mary here on column. Ask Mary.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been to a Fit Flavors, we have 6 local locations in St. Louis. Come on in, check us out, and visit us at www.fit-flavors.com. And we'll catch you next time.